Welcome back guys to another video. Today I'll be doing a oil service oil change on the Focus ST Mark III FLs and PFLs. It should be the same for both. I'm going to tell you how to jack your car up, how to take your scuttle tray off, what tools you're going to need, basically what you're going to need all in general to do the oil change, and just little tips and tricks. Also discuss the oil that you're going to be needing. I would also recommend that if you're doing it in this freezing cold, you get yourself a nice coffee as well. That's the one. So we've got the car ready here. What you're going to need is a jack, axle stands, both from Halfords, oil filter, 6 litre oil pan, basic set of tools. This is a Von HAUS 103 piece set, a couple of rags, some soap to clean your hands with because of the oil, and a oil filter remover tool. You don't need this, but this makes things a lot easier. So I've jacked the car up on axle stands, and the way you find your pinch weld is you look at your side skirts. It's dirty, so don't mind it, but here you see this little knob here. It's an arrow basically that points towards where the pinch weld is in your car. It's down here, and it's part of the subframe. It's this this metal bit here, or that, not this, not that. The plastic, the metal bit here. That's your pinch weld. That's your lower control arm. Let me just, yeah, so that's where the axle stand is, and same on the other side. The pinch weld is the same on both sides, so you just, as you can see, I've jacked one side up there, lower control arm supporting on both sides. I really rate these axle stands. They're from Halfords, as well as the Lo-Jack. If you've got any type of modified car, you will need the Lo-Jack for sure, because other jacks won't get underneath your car if it's standstill, whatever. Right, so now we sort of underneath the car. You're going to need to get rid of this plastic trim. There's a numerous amount all the way down. I am missing one, but I think there is 4 or 5. So you take them out. Once you take this plastic trim off, I think you need a T30. Yep, T30 is the right fit. So T30. Then you need to take the under tray off. Again, I'm missing a few, but take that off, and then you're exposed to the filter. Okay, so now I've removed the plastic trim that holds the under tray in place, as well as the under tray itself, and this is what it should look like now. Right, so after you've removed the under tray and the plastic trim, this is what you're left with now. I think that's your aircon, and that's your oil filter there. Don't worry, that's not a leak. That's just when we put the oil on last time. We got oil on it as we were putting it on, so there's nothing to worry about. It's just the old oil. So what you need now is, you could try and unscrew this with your hand. However, there's an easier way of doing this. This is where this little thing comes into play. So oil filter removal. Last time we did it by hand, and I've got to be honest, we did really struggle just like I'm struggling to open this. Give me a minute. Ta-da, voila, and it's ready. Okay, so it comes on a little ratchet adapter. What happens is it goes into back there, your ratchet clicks in, that then grips, you adjust it with tightness and it grips the oil filter on how you sort of tighten this. As you can see, it just grips it, and that allows you to sort of get enough grip on it to then twist it free with your hand, because it's oil as well, even if you're using gloves or whatever, which you should wear because it is carcinogenic. However, because of lockdown, I've not had the ability to go to shop and get one, and I forgot to order them. It is difficult with the hand because sometimes people tend to kind of tighten it really, really tight, which is fine, but it can make it difficult. Now, let's get onto the subject of oil. So, oil-wise, it's either 5W30 or 5W20E. That's what Ford recommends. Now, I've spoken to loads of people, loads of gurus on the forums, and tuners and stuff, etc. People have had the cars for years, and I worked on the EcoBoost engines for years, and they all state that the 5W30, if you're modding your car and it's going to be running higher power, you're best off getting 5W30. There's so many different brands. I'm not going to bore you with which brands. I know Mobil is a good brand. I've been told that Mobil is a good brand. It's specifically the Formula FE. That's what's designed for the EcoBoost engines. There's different formulas. Make sure you get the Formula FE 5W30. You can get Castrol. I've been told that Castrol, even though that's advised from factory, Castrol isn't exactly ideal. Someone just sent it. Anyway, yeah, I've heard that you can use Castrol. There's obviously different brands, but I was told that Castrol is just, it's a brand thing. I suppose they're all like Adidas and Puma and Nike, whichever you prefer. I'm sticking with that one. I've used it before and it's been fine. It works fine. It keeps well. So I'm gonna stick with that. So right, one more thing before we get cracking on. When you take the old oil out, get some of the old oil and spread it across the rubber seal up here. You'll get a good seal then. You can also pre-fill this with the normal oil, with the new oil, so your engine will get fully started for the first minute while it's ticking over. Once it's fully replaced, and you're meant to let it idle for 10-15 minutes to let the oil get everywhere and through all the bits and bobs in the engine and turbo and stuff. I'm going to pre-fill mine. Not everybody does. It's a different method for everyone. It takes 5.7 quarts, the engine. The ST engine takes 5.7 quarts. It takes more than the standard Focus. So make sure you have, which translates to 5.4 litres or thereabouts. You can't go wrong with that. You need to buy 6 litres of oil because we don't do 5.5. So you need to buy 6 litres of oil. Pre-fill this with a few quarts. It's about 250, 300 mil. I'm guessing maybe 400 mil. And put the other remaining of that 5.4 litres into the engine. And you'll be sound. Right, so before we take the oil filter off, you need to unplug this little plug here, just there. That was relatively not messy from me. That's why I got the rag. Quickly clean my fingers off. But you should wear gloves doing this because it is carcinogenic. But it's the first time I'm doing it without gloves, and the last. Now once we've done that, we crank the oil filter and we open that, take it off. Obviously place the pan underneath it so nothing goes everywhere. And once we've done that, we are going to put the new oil filter on. Like I said, put some oil around the tube, around the rubber seal, place it up top, screw it back in, and then pour the oil into the engine itself. And then the old oil, once it's in the pan, you're going to want to put back into the bottles that you used to fill up your car with, and then dispose of it safely at a tip site. Even during lockdown and coronavirus, there is no one about. It's safe. They're keeping the distance and stuff like that. So make sure you do that. Don't leave it hanging. For God's sake, don't put it into your ground, into the grass or ground, because that is illegal. Do not do that. and yeah, and then just reverse the process. Now while we wait for the oil to drain, it can take 15-20 minutes, just leave it. I want to enjoy a nice sip of my hot coffee. It's a slow job, it's a dirty job to be fair, but it's worth it. Once you've got all the tools, obviously up front you have to pay some costs, but once you have the tools, it's saving you about 30-40 quid at a dealer. Well, more at a dealer, probably saving you about 50 quid at a dealer, probably about 30-40 quid at a normal garage. So I recommend you do this. It's good satisfaction knowing that you can actually do the stuff yourself as well. You'll learn as you go along. This is the first time I've done it on my own. Last time a friend of mine did it while I watched. Now I'm doing it myself, and yeah, it's satisfying. The most scary thing is putting the car up on the axle stands and the jack, because it's just unnatural for a car to be up in air, and it's a heavy car. So but once it's on there, it's perfectly safe. There's nothing to worry about. So let the oil drain, change the oil filter, fill the oil up. Plan of attack. Right, so now it's stopped flowing. There's a few little drips coming in. So what you want to do now is, once it starts dripping, you want to just get a little bit of oil. Probably this is a 1 litre top up, so 1 litre, 900 ml. I want to go to 700 and just run about 300 ml, 200-300 ml through the system until it starts dripping again, just to sort of clear any residue out. As you can see, the beautiful golden brown has started flowing. Wait for that to come through. That's what we've just poured in, and then we can take this old bugger out and put a new one in. Smashing. Right, so I've just set the camera up. The oil pan stopped dripping, so I'm putting the, well, pretty much stopped dripping. It'll still drip in a bit by bit. That's enough because we've ran some oil through it. I've put that on. Now here's the filter. I know it's dark, my camera's running low, my phone's running low on battery, so I'll have to do it in a bit of darkness now. I've already loosened this off. Oh, I thought I did. Yeah, I did. Alright, so I'll put the oil pan underneath and carefully try and take this off level. There we go. Because it's all going to drip. I could have done with proper gloves here. Messy job. There we go. And there's the remainder of oil. Look at that goodness. Ugh. And it stinks too. So, yeah. Right, obviously now we've got to let this drain because this still held some oil in. So, probably about 500 ml with the filter. So we've got to let that drain. Then we're going to just clean up around it and then we're going to put the new filter in. Yuck. Right, so now before the camera's going to die, because I've got about 2% left and I didn't plan it ahead enough to charge it. We are at the end anyway. The only thing that remains after this, after putting this in, is topping the oil up itself, which you know is 5.4 litres, or about 5.2 litres if you pre-fill this. So I'm going to pre-fill this just a little bit, just a teeny bit. There you go. Still can hold a bit more. There we go. Okay, cool. Right, so that's pre-filled. I can still put a bit more in, actually. It keeps sinking down. Yeah, that'll do. Right, so that's pre-filled. Now I want to get some of the old oil, my finger. I'm going to go around it like that and just seal it with the oil, and that just goes straight up. Right, we've got that. Now we take this, it's pre-filled. And we just have to slot it on. There we go. There's a specific click that you look for until it fits. Don't screw it if it don't fit. And then we just tighten it as hard as we can with our hand. It'll pressurise and that'll keep it secure. Okay, and now final step. We undo this. We get our oil and we fill it up with 5.2 litres approx, because we've pre-filled our filter. There we go. Undo this. Now look at that glorious golden goodness. Then once you've done this, once you've put in the entire lot, the right amount, you just want to sit your car down, take the axle stands off, sit your car down, turn it on and let your car just idle for 10-15 minutes, just to let it get through all the important bits in the engine. You want to make sure that the car's completely filled with the oil properly then, and everything's lubricated and protected right. Alright guys, so I've finished that now. Engine's been topped up with oil. Underneath is fully secure with the filter. I hand tightened it. I also used a cloth just to give it just a little bit more, but it should be completely fine. It pressurizes anyway, so it won't come off. And then the plug at the back, just tightened it a little bit with the ratchet, about as tight as it was when I was trying to get it off, which was pretty tight. Again, that can pressurize, I believe, but it is on a screw. Once you've done that, make sure your car's on the flat. Obviously get your dipstick, clean it, and just check that it's within the boundaries or just thereabouts towards the top. It's alright if it's just a little bit over, just a tiny bit, that's fine. We're talking a few mil, you know, over, don't worry too much about that. Once it gets through the system and it sets in different parts of the car, then it's fine. This is why you let your car idle for 10-15 minutes before you even drive off. With cars like these, especially if they're modified, make sure you idle for 10-15 minutes, especially in the cold, to make sure that everything gets heated up and lubricated properly. Again, at the end of the journey, make sure you let it idle for 5, maybe 10 minutes if you can spare that. It just preserves the car with the heat expansion of the engine and the head and everything. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed the video and found it informative. It's the first time I've done an oil change on myself. I am really proud. The fact that I got to record it for you guys as well is a bonus for me. So get your hands dirty. It is a messy job, but it's definitely worth it doing it yourself, because you learn something new every time, and then if you can do it on one car, you can do it on any car. Save yourself a fortune. Bye guys. Hope you have a great week. Don't let all this corona stuff stop you. Stay happy, be positive, look after each other, and for God's sake, just do what you need to do to get through all this. You know, go exercising, play your games, go for a drive within distance, reasonable distance in your county, and make sure that you do your exercise and you know, spend time with your friends and loved ones if they're in your bubble. So yeah, stay here guys. Please leave a like, comment and subscribe, and if you've got any questions, just comment below and I'll answer them best as I can. Thank you. Peace.